this is one of the shortest Gospels that we have in the whole Missal, and yet it contains it all. There are two dynamics, listening and doing. Beati qui audiunt et custodiunt, keeping it, the Word of God, in the sense of taking it to heart and concretely doing something about it. There is in our life always a double dynamic, one of receiving and the other of giving out. I've often compared it in the past to the difference between a wireless, a radio, and a telephone. The one can only emit, while the other can also have a two-way traffic. It applies both on the human and on the divine level, and something of the same problem emerges in both in certain types of people. How many times have we heard it said, "You're not listening"? Well, that means not that you're not hearing, but you're not picking up. It's true in prayer, it's true in life, it's true in human dynamics. But now, mankind, even mankind consecrated to the Lord's service, has a double problem. If one looks at the life of the average person given to the work of the Lord, now with 50 years ago, one can see why the Lord might be crying out, even from the tabernacle, "You're not listening." What can make that happen? It's what Pope Benedict referred to as the illness of activism, even in the consecrated. It looks good because things are functioning, but the Lord is crying out, "You're not listening." And then things happen which aren't of Him. For instance, in concrete terms, if the managerial element becomes so paramount that we don't see and observe, hear and feel the individual, so that hic et nunc appears before me, then we're not listening. We've switched off from actually the essence of our life. We're still functioning, it looks good, but we're not listening. So too, when it comes to our God, we might even be doing all the offices, the rosary, everything perfectly in execution and in rhythm, but we can come to a point where also there the Lord is crying out, "You're not listening." We bit by bit crowd out those pauses where actually we're doing nothing but listening. We're so keen on getting the duty done. I remember being warned about this years ago in Italy. I mentioned before how I made a retreat with a very holy priest of the Fraternity of St. Peter in Venice, and he could see it coming. Now, this Tuesday, I'm making a lightning visit to Italy to discuss what probably is going to happen with common friends, close friends of our community. The founding prior now, years ago, warned us about this too. A community which exteriorly produces the goods, does well, is regular, but this illness has come in. It says yes to everything without discernment and becomes ill, because the interior life is so thinly spread that they're doing everything all the time, but not in intimacy. And so I remember some years ago having the courage one day in chapter to warn them. The essence of our life in the specific Robertine charisma is balance, complete symbiosis and equilibrium. We're losing it. And now the echoes coming to me are that one after the other the brethren are leaving. Therefore they've come to a point where probably, as far as I can see, they're going to have to abandon ship. And so, without judging anything or anything personal, I'm just observing illnesses that can actually concretely then cease to produce the fruits. We can't do what the Lord is not doing in us and for us. We're not made to do this alone. We listen first to what He wants done, and then and only then we start to do it. The generous soul has this B side, that it can't say no. I've known a holy priest who they say died of saying yes. He couldn't ever say no. And therefore burnout comes in. And how frequent is the illness of burnout? It could actually be a satanic temptation. I'm not saying in that case or any other case particularly, but it's something the devil can use. The good can be got through burnout. Conquer them by their generosity. They'll never say no, they're always available. People use the old adage, if you want something done, ask a busy man. So I leave it with you also. Our Lady was in perfect equilibrium. She treasured all these words in her heart. The interior soul has quality time. I just finish. There was one thing which used to edify me a lot in our founding prayer, and was this: no matter how much had to be done, and he was founding, and it was a big enterprise, he always carved out lots and lots of time before the Blessed Sacrament. He always kept that balance, and he always tried to warn us. Don't lose it. If you do, you lose everything.